All right, today we're jumping into a really profound mystery from a mystical text. It asks a pretty huge question. How does an infinite God even reveal himself inside our very finite world? And the answer, it turns out, is hidden right inside the meaning of his names. So check this out. Our whole investigation kicks off with this single, kind of puzzling verse. God is basically saying, look, I spoke with the founding patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but I used a specific name, El Shaddai, my ultimate essential name. Havaya, yeah, I kind of kept that one under wraps. And right away, you have to ask the question the text explores. If Havaya is the real deal, the ultimate expression of divine truth, why would you reveal a different name to these spiritual giants? I mean, what was being hidden? And more importantly, why?
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with this central puzzle, then we'll decode the name Shaddai, map out the cosmic architecture, look at two different kinds of miracles, and finally get to the ultimate truth. Let's dive in.
So the source kicks things off by explaining that, yeah, every name of God is true, but the name Havaya is totally unique. It's described as the measure of my truth, which is a way of saying it points to a reality that's beyond all limits, beyond any and all constraints. And this brings us right back to that core question. Was the revelation to the patriarchs somehow less? Was God holding back? Or, as the text suggests, is there something way deeper going on here, about the very nature of how the infinite can even interact with the finite? Now, this is where things get really interesting. The text reveals that the name Shaddai isn't nearly as simple as it looks. It's not just one idea. It actually holds two completely opposite meanings inside of it. Okay, so on one hand, Shaddai comes from the word dai, which means enough. Think of it like God at creation saying, okay, stop right there. This is the force of limitation that gives our world its structure, its laws of physics. But on the other hand, it also means sufficient, as in an infinite overflowing abundance that's enough to sustain every single thing in existence. And here is the crucial point. When God appeared to Abraham as El Shaddai, he wasn't reminding him of the God who sets limits. No, this was the unveiling of a brand new, profound dimension. The God whose energy is so abundant, so sufficient that it can sustain everything. Infinitely. So to really get this difference, the text lays out this amazing mystical blueprint of reality, and it's all built on two core concepts: light and vessels. First up, you've got the vessels, or kelim. Think of these as the containers, the rules, the laws of nature, everything that gives our world a defined shape and a structure. This connects right back to that first meaning of Shaddai, enough, the force of limitation. And then you've got the light, or ore. This is the infinite, boundless divine energy that just flows into and animates those vessels. It's the life force, the spiritual juice that fills up all of creation. And this, of course, is that second meaning of Shaddai, sufficient. And this just lays it out so brilliantly. You have these different levels. First, the world gets its structure. The vessels are formed. Then, divine energy fills and sustains that structure. That's the light of Shaddai. But then, there's a third level. A light so infinite that it transcends any vessel, any structure whatsoever. And that is the level of Havaya. Okay, but you might be thinking this light and vessel stuff feels a little abstract. So how does it actually show up in our world? Well, the source connects these different energy levels to two very different kinds of miracles. So miracles that come from the name El Shaddai are called dressed in nature. They work through natural processes. They often just look like incredible coincidences, They operate within the existing rules. But miracles from the name Havaya, they're totally beyond nature. They don't just bend the rules, they completely shatter the rules of reality itself. We're talking about things like the splitting of the sea. And this is the key distinction, the real so what moment. The miracles of Shaddai work inside a system of lack and fulfillment. They give you what you need to fill a hole in reality. But the miracles of Havaya, they come from a place so far beyond our system that they don't just fill a need. They reveal a whole new reality of what's possible, a reality where our ideas of need and lack don't even make sense. Okay, so let's bring this all home. We're going to see how this all comes together to finally solve that paradox of the two names that we started with. And here's the answer. God wasn't hiding his true name at all. The revelation to the patriarchs was, at its very core, the infinite power of Havaya.
It was just enclosed, expressed through the natural world using the name Shaddai. It was a demonstration that the absolute infinite could actually live inside our concrete, finite world. This was an absolutely vital first step. By seeing these miracles dressed in nature, the world was learning that the infinite could control the finite from the inside out. This prepared everyone for the later revelation at Mount Sinai, when the name Havaya was revealed openly, unveiling the very power source that was behind those earlier miracles all along. The text finishes by looking forward, quoting this prophecy from Isaiah. It points to a future time when this concealment, this enclothing of the infinite inside the finite, finally and completely just dissolves. So in that future time, the text explains, the boundary between what we call nature and supernature will just disappear. It will be totally clear to everyone that even the strictest laws of nature are, at their core, just another way this higher, limitless, infinite divine will expresses itself. And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. We live in a world where the structures of reality often seem to hide a deeper spiritual truth. But what would it look like, what would it feel like to live in a reality where the finite can no longer hide the infinite?